Hey guys, Pat here. So I'm going to review this new movie called American Assassin. It's based off a book, which I think is a series. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I've never read the book, and I don't know much about it, so this review is coming purely from a film standpoint. So if I get anything wrong, and it's a book thing, I apologize up front just because I never read the book. I never really even heard of it. I kind of heard of it, but I never actually picked it up or anything. But I did like the trailers. I will say, if there was one thing I will compliment the movie on early on, is I thought the trailers were very appealing. I like the premise. I like this, everyman guy. He wants revenge after his girlfriend dies. So he decides to become James Bond or Rambo, and then he gets recruited and taken into like the CIA, and he fights with them and stuff like that. It's a very 80s, 90s action movie premise. I like the idea. I like Michael Keaton in the trailer. So I said, F it, I'm going to go see this movie. So I went to go see it. It was a matinee. I didn't go pay full price. But, okay, so to start it off, the opening scene, man, that's where. I, the movie didn't lose me. Like, I don't dislike this movie, but man, the opening scene, it reminded me of the opening to Team America World Police, where they're in Paris, and the guys show up, and they're all like, "Doka doka 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 doka," and then they just start shooting everything. This is kind of a spoiler, but it's the beginning of the movie. But he's just at the beach with his girlfriend. He has, well, fiance then, but he's just like, "Hey." He's like, "Hey, baby, we're at the beach, yeah." And he's filming it on his phone. "Yeah, baby, what's up? I love you." He's just some fucking bro douchebag. And it's like, okay, whatever Keanu Reeves want to be. I kept getting Point Break vibes in some moments of this film, which was weird. But anyway, the guy's like, "Yeah, I love you." And then everyone on the beach is clapping, and he goes to get a drink, and he's like, "Oh, it's too strong." Then boom, gunfire. I mean, it is freaking. It's crazy. Like in the sensitive era we live in with politics and everything, and with guns and how people feel about this stuff. Now, I'm not sensitive about anything in movies. It doesn't really bother me. But man, I gotta say, because there's really not a lot of setup emotionally. Like, I get the idea of, that they shoot up at the beach that the guy's on with his girlfriend and she gets shot and then he wants revenge. But in my mind, wouldn't this movie be a lot better if you spent 20 minutes to maybe even half hour, but maybe 20 minutes developing this relationship where we see these two like kind of hang out together and then get to this point? Starting it off here, I don't know this guy and I don't know her. So there's not a lot of emotion there. You don't sell it in that first. I mean, it's like 20 seconds of dialogue. It's okay. And the biggest issue with that is that then there's this really violent scene that's supposed to change everything, and I don't mind that, but it feels so unearned. I don't want to say it was exploitive or anything like that, but it was just kind of. I don't know. I think it could have been much more subtle. It's well filmed, like he falls into water and comes out and everything. But I kept thinking Team America. I was honestly kind of laughing. I thought it was silly. So he's all like, "Baby, don't die," and then they just shoot the hell out of her. And he's like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna get revenge." So instead of having a 20 minutes of build up and then cutting to kind of a training montage, they just cut to like I think it's a year, 2 years ahead, and he's a ninja. He's Batman now. He's got like a big beard. He's training MMA or something like that. I'm not really sure. He's doing groundwork and stuff like that. He gets kicked out of a gym. He's throwing a knife at the wall every night. He's tough as nails now, and he's going to get revenge. So he's hunting down terrorists. So he plans to like join a terrorist group to infiltrate them and then like take them out. It's like, wow, you can do this? Whoa. So the CIA apparently has a program where they're watching vigilantes across the world to recruit, which is kind of a cool comic booky idea. I'll give them that. The big problem with the first part of this movie is that it's a lot of setup, and they move this stuff much too quickly. Like, it's a film that should have developed this stuff, which I'm sure maybe the book does, but I didn't read it. But in this, they just kind of jump right in, and then it'll give you enough time to really get to know this guy. Plus, the actor who plays this, I think, what is it, Dylan O'Brien or something? He's okay, but he doesn't really. I don't think he brings enough charisma to the role because it's a very flat character in the script. And I don't know, I didn't really buy him as this, like, badass action guy, even though the movie really he's not bad. The movie does get more interesting though once Michael Keaton comes in. And he's like the old guy who's been like he's like the guy who's gonna break this kid. He's gonna teach him a lesson. You know, I really liked him. Michael Keaton had a fun time. He's been great lately. Like we just brought up the Michael Keaton thing, like Birdman and Spotlight, and he's really good in Spider-Man in this. Like he's been giving these just really focused, intense performances lately that I've been really enjoying. I've always liked Michael Keaton, but I think he's been on a roll lately. I think he's great here. I don't really have much issues with him. With the material he had, he elevated every bit of it. The movie gets better in the second half. Somewhere in the second half, I don't know, around the 45-minute mark, because I was kind of tapping out. Because I thought the lead character was bland. I thought the plot was moving way too fast. It was very generic. I've seen this all 100 times before. But somewhere in the middle, there's this plot twist that's kind of awesome. And I won't spoil it. But they set up this girl, and you think she's going to be this love interest, and it feels really cliche, and I was cringing. And then they do something with it that wasn't what you thought they were going to do, and then they make it more interesting as it goes on. It's like, oh, wow, you avoided the cliches with that, and you actually did something unique. She was probably my favorite part of this, story-wise. I thought that was interesting. But in the middle act, the action scenes start to kick in. It's not a bad action movie. I mean, to really be honest, like, there's good choreography. It cost like $30 million. I mean, I thought so. I thought they clearly took some notes from John Wick and other movies that are getting popular now. But I thought that the hand-to-hand combat stuff worked really well. It moved quick. It was well edited. It was a little quick cutting at the beginning and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the middle act, it really started to get its groove. Then Taylor Kitsch comes in. Taylor Kitsch, I don't, Riggs from Friday Night Lights. He continues to be pretty decent in really bad roles in mediocre movies. Like, this is just a trend that he has. Because I really like him, but I hope he's good in Waco, but this is just like crap. He gets a crazy role here. He has one of the craziest lines I've heard in a mainstream movie in a long time. He says to a guy, "Kill all the Jews you want." And I was like, whoa! What? You said that? He always plays these generic, like, cowboy, rogue guys who don't give a crap. I mean, I don't know. He's trapped in that role from Friday Night Lights this whole life. I like the idea of the character. He's kind of like a Robin. He reminded me of Jason Todd. He kind of breaks off from his mentor, and he becomes this weapon in his own, and he has his own philosophy and morality, and he's talking about, I guess he's trying to talk about how America grooms these men to kill, and we have this sensationalist, patriotic attitude towards war and violence and death, and us using nuclear bombs will come back to haunt us. There is some thematic stuff here that's interesting. I do think there's a lot of ideas in there like that, but they're kind of all swept under the rug to make this action movie. So he just ends up being a guy who does the crap, like, I'm going to take my shirt off and yell at you and be like, you made me this way. I'm going to make you watch as I kill Americans and stuff. It just gets really cliche action movie crap. They could have done something with the psychology. I'd actually argue if this film didn't have the lead character and it was about Michael Keaton having to go take out his former apprentice, and it was that relationship, it would be a much more interesting movie than him, because you never really get Michael Keaton's relationship with the main character. They don't really develop it. They just, like, they have this crappy surrogate father thing, I guess. I don't know, and I never really felt bad that the dude's girlfriend died, and that hurts the movie. You don't have the emotional connection, because I don't think it's a bad action movie, and I don't think it's a badly paced movie, or even a badly acted film or anything like that. Like, it's all okay. It just lacks logic, and the internal logic's lacking, and it lacks a good structure. It doesn't really set up a lot good. The setup's horrible. Then it becomes an action movie. Then, I don't know, it tries to become, like, I thought, some kind of pseudo-commentary, social, political type movie, and then, I know. Then it has this big CGI ending in the third act. It's a big explosion. I didn't think that really worked. Big CGI, over the top, thing. I thought, like, you didn't need this. It's a little too big. Things I do like about the movie, though. It does kind of have this James Bond, Jason Bourne feel to it at points. It is fun. There's fun parts. I definitely like some of that. There's a fight scene on a boat that's cool because of how they use the boat and the physics. They use the environments really well in this movie. There's a fight scene in an apartment that's cool. That plot twist I talked about is actually very neat and makes for this really cool, intense sequence when it happens. I think with a better lead actor, and it's maybe not even the actor's fault, it's the writing, but with a better lead character, this could have been a really good movie or a more focused movie because it's trying to do too much. There's too many, like, it's one of those okay matinee movies, but that's what sucks. See, there's a lot of movies I hate and a lot of movies I love. A movie like this, you see that there was a really good movie in here or a really bad movie that would have been fun. It kind of made me think of the Point Break remake, which was a bad movie, but it was kind of like really well shot and had good action, but it was very generic and had a bland lead, and it didn't have any of the soul and personality of the original. This is a little bit better in tone. This is like a better version of that movie because of Michael Keaton, and just it's just better in a lot of ways. But it reminded me of that there's this generic thing about trying to recapture those old things and not really getting the simplicity of something like Predator, which is very simple and stripped down. They overcomplicate these movies with the 90s screenplay where you just stack a bunch of things on top of each other and you have exposition dialogue. American Assassin, it's a weird one. It's weird. I feel weird about it. It's like I didn't have a bad time, and it's not like I wouldn't tell people to go see it, but it's not really anything you haven't seen before. It's generic. You could watch it on cable. Like, that's the thing. You just catch it on TV and you'd be happy, I guess. So I really can't say go see it in the theater. You really shouldn't pay to see this. I'm not knocking the movie. It's okay, but did I get anything from it, really? Nothing really. Michael Keaton's probably the only thing that really stands out. It's just not as crappy as I thought it was going to be, but I kind of wish it had been crappier because it might have been, like, entertaining in that way. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, I saw a movie. Which I used to do for years as a teenager. I just go see movies on the weekends, and if I saw it, I saw it. That was kind of it, and then you'd forget them sometimes. Very forgettable film. I let me think about it. Is there any specific thing I want to talk about before I wrap this up? I think yeah, I did like, I don't know. There was something about that, the apprentice or the former the son who disconnected and wants to destroy because of this and the hatred and Michael Keaton dealing with that. There is something there that is kind of interesting. I don't know, that part, I think there was a movie there. That might be something that's explored in the book more, but that's not really the movie's interest. But I do find that interesting. It felt too YA to me. It didn't feel like it was enough of an adult movie. It has, like, it has swearing and violence, but it didn't really feel like, I don't know. It felt kind of like Taken in a way, too. It really felt like a mishmash of a bunch of movies and not like an original movie, which really hurt it. And it has some cool action. It has a scene with a car where he's driving a car through, like, this, I don't know, this entrance, and it's, like, awesome. It's a really cool action scene. There's some really cool action. Like, that's the biggest compliment I could give it. Like, wow, they did a good job with the choreography. But action movies lately in general have been getting better. The game has kind of stepped up with, like, Atomic Blonde and Mad Max Fury Road and Civil War and the Raid movies, Daredevil. I mean, there's just a lot better action lately. Fight scenes, people are finally getting it somewhat. Yeah, the lead character, and then they try. The ending's kind of cool. I do like the ending. If this movie had been great, it kind of made me think of Wanted. Like, Wanted has this awesome ending in the comic, and the movie does a different kind of ending. And Wanted's just kind of an okay, generic blockbuster popcorn movie you saw when it came out. But if that movie had been a classic, that ending would be amazing. It'd be like, yeah! And that's how this ending would play, too. It's kind of like the ending to Sin City. It's actually a lot like that. But the way this ends, and the title pops up, you'd be like, yeah, sequel, American Assassin 2, let's do it, baby! But it doesn't really hit like it should, because the movie's not there. But man, the ending was cool. I'll give it that too. Maybe it's just because I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. I didn't have a bad time. I paid like $5.50, so not the worst thing in the world. Anyway, what's the arbitrary rating? What do we give this that doesn't matter? I guess I would give American Assassin a 6 out of 10, which I think is pretty fair. I mean, it's probably more of a 5, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And I don't think they'll be making a sequel. I don't have that feeling. And I don't think it's killing at the box office. Anyway, leave your opinion in the comment section. Like and subscribe. And guys, thanks for watching. And rewind your VHS tapes before you bring them back to the store. I don't want to have to do it.